The Scythian Empire had long been a dominant force in the Milky Way galaxy, subjugating countless civilizations to feed their insatiable hunger for power and resources. For eons, they had expanded their reach, using their mastery of cosmic energies to crush any who dared oppose them. At the helm of this fearsome empire was the Supreme Matriarch, a being of immense intellect and ruthless ambition. With a mere thought, she could bend the fundamental forces of the universe to her will, molding reality to suit her designs. Her minions, the overlords, carried out her directives with unwavering loyalty, scouring the stars for new conquests. Now, the Supreme Matriarch had set her sights on a small, unremarkable planet called Earth. Sensors aboard the Scythian Vanguard fleet had detected signs of sentient life, but the readings were puzzling. This humanity seemed to possess only the most rudimentary of technologies, their societies divided and primitive. Surely, they would pose no real challenge to the Scythian war machine. The time has come to add this insignificant world to our glorious empire, the Supreme Matriarch proclaimed, her voice resonating through the command deck of the flagship. Dispatch the advance guard to subjugate the inhabitants and secure a foothold. Once their defenses are breached, the full might of the Scythian armada shall descend upon them. The overlords bowed in obedience, their minds already racing with strategies to swiftly crush this new adversary. They had faced countless civilizations before, each one crumbling beneath the awesome power of the Scythian war machine. What could a mere handful of primitive creatures hope to accomplish against the cosmic might of the Empire? Within days, the Scythian Vanguard fleet emerged from the void, its sleek, angular vessels bristling with devastating armaments. Hovering high above the major population centers of Earth, the overlords issued their ultimatum: surrender unconditionally or be annihilated. However, the response they received was wholly unexpected. Rather than panicked capitulation, the leaders of Earth's nations issued a defiant refusal, accompanied by a barrage of energy weapons that lashed out at the Scythian ships. Shields flickered and hull plating glowed with the impacts, but the alien vessels remained largely unscathed. Curious, murmured one of the overlords, observing the display with a mixture of bemusement and annoyance. These humans possess rudimentary energy-based armaments, but their technology is primitive. They cannot possibly hope to stand against us. The overlord turned to issue the order to commence the bombardment, but a sudden alert from the sensor array gave him pause. Something was amiss. The primitive human technology was somehow interfering with the Scythian ship systems, disrupting communications and sensor readings. Before the overlord could fully comprehend the situation, a cascade of explosions ripped through the Vanguard fleet. Entire vessels vanished in blinding flashes of light, their superstructures torn apart by an unseen force. The remaining ships reeled, their advanced shielding buckling under the relentless onslaught. Stunned, the overlord watched helplessly as the human defenses unleashed a barrage of devastating attacks. Beams of concentrated energy, missiles cloaked in exotic fields, and swarms of agile fighter craft assailed the Scythian fleet, inflicting heavy casualties. Impossible. The overlord roared, his composure shattered. How can these primitives possess such formidable capabilities? The answer soon became clear as the human forces pressed their advantage. Advanced technologies, some of which seemed to defy the fundamental laws of the universe, emerged from concealment, overwhelming the Scythian ships with a dizzying array of offensive and defensive measures. Panic gripped the overlord's mind as he realized the true nature of the threat. This was no mere primitive civilization. The humans had somehow unlocked the secrets of cosmic power, harnessing energies that the Scythian had mastered millennia ago. And they were wielding these powers with a ferocity and ingenuity that caught the invaders off guard. As the battle raged, the overlord knew that retreat was no longer an option. The Supreme Matriarch would never tolerate such a humiliating defeat, and the consequences of failure would be swift and merciless. He had no choice but to rally the remaining forces and commit them fully to the fight, even as the human onslaught showed no signs of relenting. All units, converge on the primary target. The Overlord barked into his communicator, his voice betraying a hint of desperation. We must break through their defenses at all costs. The Supreme Matriarch demands victory. The Aetherian ships surged forward, their weapons blazing, but the humans met them with unwavering determination. In the chaos of the battle, the Overlord caught glimpses of their leaders, bold, fearless individuals who seemed to command the respect and loyalty of their comrades. Whoever these humans were, they were no mere primitives. They were a force to be reckoned with, one that threatened to upend the very foundations of the Scytheran Empire. As the clash of cosmic energies echoed through the void, the Overlord realized that this was no mere skirmish. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the Scytherans had met their match in the determined defenders of Earth. The Scytheran vanguard fleet's devastating assault on Earth had been met with a startling and unanticipated resistance. The human defenders, wielding advanced technologies that seemed to defy the known laws of the universe, had managed to inflict crippling losses on the invading alien forces. Aboard the Scytheran flagship, the Supreme Matriarch watched the unfolding battle with growing alarm. She had dispatched this advance guard to quickly subjugate the primitive human civilization, but now it appeared that her minions were the ones in grave peril. How is this possible? The Supreme Matriarch hissed, her slender fingers gripping the arms of her command chair. These humans should be no match for the might of the Scytheran Empire. What is the meaning of this? One of the overlords, his uniform tattered, and his features etched with a mixture of fear and bewilderment, knelt before the Supreme Matriarch. "Forgive us, Great One," he said, his voice trembling. "The humans possess technology and capabilities that we did not anticipate. Their defenses have proven far more formidable than our initial scan suggested." The Supreme Matriarch's eyes narrowed to slits, her gaze boring into the Overlord's very soul. "Excuses will not suffice," she said, her words dripping with barely contained fury. "You were tasked with the swift subjugation of this insignificant world. Yet now my flagship stands mere moments from being obliterated by these primitives." The Overlord flinched, bracing himself for the punishment that was surely to come. But to his surprise, the Supreme Matriarch raised a hand, silencing him. "It appears," she continued, her tone measured and contemplative, "that we have underestimated the humans. Their technological prowess is clearly more advanced than our initial assessment." She paused, her brow furrowing in thought. "This will require a different approach." Turning her gaze to the viewport, the Supreme Matriarch watched as the battered Scytheran ships attempted to mount a last-ditch counterattack, only to be met with a barrage of devastating energy beams and missile salvos. The human defenses seemed impenetrable, their resolve unyielding. "Recall the vanguard fleet," the Supreme Matriarch commanded, her voice cold and decisive. "We shall regroup and reassess the situation. This humanity has proven to be a more formidable adversary than we had anticipated." The Overlord, daring to hope that his life had been spared, quickly relayed the order, his fingers trembling as he keyed in the commands. Within moments, the surviving Scytheran ships disengaged, their damaged hulls limping away from the now fortified human defenses. As the Scytheran fleet retreated, the Supreme Matriarch's mind raced. This was an unexpected development, one that threatened to unravel the carefully constructed foundations of her empire. For millennia, the Scytherans had dominated the galaxy, subjugating countless civilizations with ease. But now, a new challenger had emerged, one that possessed the ability to wield cosmic power in ways that Scytherans had never imagined. "Prepare my personal vessel," the Supreme Matriarch said, her gaze still fixed on the receding Scytheran ships. "I shall venture to this Earth myself and assess the situation firsthand. These humans have piqued my curiosity, and I intend to uncover the secrets of their power." The Overlord, relieved to have survived the encounter, quickly relayed the order, his mind racing with a mixture of trepidation and awe. The Supreme Matriarch herself was taking a personal interest in the human threat, a development that could only portend even greater trials and tribulations to come. As the Supreme Matriarch's sleek, angular vessel detached from the flagship and streaked towards the distant blue orb of Earth, the Overlord could not help but wonder what fate awaited his species. The humans had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and the Scytheran Empire had never faced a challenge quite like this before. In the void of space, the Scytheran fleet regrouped, its commanders already devising new strategies to counter the human defenses. They knew that the next confrontation would be even more ferocious, for the Supreme Matriarch had made it clear that failure was not an option. The stage was set for a titanic clash between the cosmic powers of the Scytheran Empire and the determined defenders of Earth. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and neither side was willing to back down. As the Scytheran flagship and its battered fleet retreated, the human defenders on Earth let out a collective sigh of relief. The initial onslaught had been repelled, but there was no doubt that the alien invaders would return with even greater force. Leading the human resistance was Captain Amanda Hernandez, a seasoned military strategist with a keen tactical mind. She had overseen the coordination of Earth's disparate nations, uniting their military forces into a cohesive defense against the Scytheran threat. "This is only the beginning," Hernandez said, her brow furrowed in concentration as she reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "The Scytherans will be back, and in greater numbers. We need to be ready." Beside her, Dr. Michael Zhao, the brilliant young physicist whose groundbreaking research had unlocked the secrets of harnessing cosmic power, nodded gravely. "The technology we've developed will give us a fighting chance, but we can't afford to be complacent. The Scytherans have had millennia to master these abilities, and we're still just scratching the surface of their potential." Hernandez turned to Zhao, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Then we'll have to learn faster. Our world, our very way of life, is at stake. We can't afford to lose this fight." In the days that followed, the human defenders worked tirelessly to reinforce their defenses and develop new strategies to counter the Scytheran onslaught. Across the globe, scientists, engineers, and military personnel collaborated to push the boundaries of their newfound cosmic abilities, crafting ever more potent weapons and defensive systems. Meanwhile, the Scytheran fleet regrouped, its commanders reporting their failure to the Supreme Matriarch. Furious at the unexpected setback, the Supreme Matriarch had dispatched her personal vessel to investigate the matter firsthand, determined to uncover the secrets of the human resistance. As the Supreme Matriarch's ship breached Earth's atmosphere and descended towards the surface, the human early warning systems sprang to life. Hernandez, alerted to the presence of the alien vessel, immediately mobilized her forces. "All units, prepare for engagement." She barked into the communications network. "The Scytheran leader has arrived. We'll show them the true might of humanity." The human defense grid came alive, a dazzling array of energy beams, missile salvos, and exotic particle fields lashing out at the descending Scytheran ship. But to the shock of the defenders, the vessel's shields held firm, shrugging off the bombardment with ease. "Impossible," Zhao exclaimed, his eyes widening in disbelief. "Their shielding technology is far more advanced than we anticipated. We'll need to find a way to penetrate it if we're to have any chance of stopping them." Hernandez gritted her teeth, her mind racing for a solution. "Keep firing everything we've got," she ordered. "We need to buy time. Give our scientists a chance to find a weakness in their defenses." The human forces redoubled their efforts, pouring volley after volley of devastating attacks upon the Scytheran vessel. Yet, despite their best efforts, the alien ship continued its relentless descent, its shields holding firm against the onslaught. Aboard the Scytheran vessel, the Supreme Matriarch observed the human defenders with a mixture of fascination and disdain. These Earthlings were proving to be far more resilient than she had expected, their technological prowess rivaling that of her own empire in some regards. "Impressive," she murmured, her fingers tapping thoughtfully against the arm of her command chair. "They have managed to harness the fundamental forces of the universe in ways we had not foreseen. But their efforts are ultimately futile." With a subtle gesture, the Supreme Matriarch channeled her own cosmic powers, manipulating the very fabric of reality around the human defense grid. Suddenly, the energy beams and missile salvos faltered, their trajectories warping and veering off course. The human forces watched in horror as their most potent weapons were rendered ineffective. "What's happening?" Hernandez cried, her hands clenching into fists as she witnessed the sudden collapse of their defenses. "Zhao, can you counteract this?" The young physicist shook his head, his face etched with a mixture of awe and despair. I don't know. The Xathran leader is wielding powers beyond anything we've encountered. Our technology may not be enough to overcome this." As the Tithran vessel descended ever closer, the human defenders found themselves helpless, their once formidable arsenal rendered useless by the Supreme Matriarch's cosmic manipulation. Hernandez and Zhao exchanged a grim look, realizing that the fate of their world now hung by a thread. In the face of this overwhelming adversity, the human resolve remained unbroken. They would fight to the last, determined to defend their home and their species, no matter the cost. "We won't go down without a fight," Hernandez declared, her voice ringing with defiance. "Humanity will not be subjugated by these invaders. We'll find a way to defeat them, even if it means unlocking the full extent of our cosmic abilities." With those words, the human defenders prepared to meet the Scythran threat head-on, their spirits unbroken and their determination unwavering. The stage was set for an epic clash that would decide the fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy. As the Scythran flagship descended upon the beleaguered human defenders, the tension in the air was palpable. Captain Amanda Hernandez and Dr. Michael Zhao watched grimly as the alien vessel's powerful shields shrugged off the full might of their counterattack. "Their defenses are impenetrable," Zhao muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We need to find a way to bypass that shielding, or else all our efforts will be for naught." Hernandez's jaw tightened, her gaze unwavering as she studied the Scythran ship's movements. "There has to be a weakness, something we can exploit. These invaders may be advanced, but they're not infallible." The human forces regrouped, their weapon systems primed and ready for another onslaught. Hernandez knew that time was running out. The Scythran leader, the so-called Supreme Matriarch, would not hesitate to unleash the full might of her cosmic powers upon the planet. As the Scythran vessel settled into a hover above the primary human defense grid, the Supreme Matriarch gazed down upon the defiant Earthlings with a mixture of contempt and scientific curiosity. "Interesting," she murmured, her slender fingers dancing across the holographic interface of her command console. "These humans have managed to harness the fundamental forces of the universe in ways I had not anticipated. Their technology, while primitive, shows great promise." With a subtle gesture, the Supreme Matriarch channeled her immense cosmic abilities, manipulating the energy fields that surrounded the human defenses. Suddenly, the once powerful energy beams and missile salvos faltered, their trajectories warping and veering off course. "What sorcery is this?" Hernandez cried, watching in horror as their most devastating weapons were rendered useless. "Zhao, can you counteract this?" The young physicist shook his head, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and trepidation. I don't know. The Tithran leader's powers are beyond anything we've encountered. Our technology may not be enough to overcome this level of cosmic manipulation." Hernandez gritted her teeth, her mind racing for a solution. They had come too far, sacrificed too much, to be defeated by this alien tyrant. Humanity's very survival was at stake, and she would not let her world and her people fall without a fight. "There has to be a way," she muttered, her gaze darting across the tactical displays. "If we can't overwhelm their defenses, then we'll have to find a way to circumvent them entirely." Inspiration struck, and Hernandez quickly relayed her plan to the human forces. Swiftly, the defenders shifted their focus, abandoning their frontal assault in favor of a more cunning strategy. Waves of nimble fighter craft, their hulls reinforced with exotic shielding, darted in close to the Scythran vessel, raining down a barrage of precision strikes. The Supreme Matriarch, caught off guard by the unexpected maneuver, struggled to maintain her grip on the surrounding energy fields. As the Tythran shields wavered, Hernandez signaled the command for the next phase of the plan. Massive particle beam cannons, hidden beneath the surface of the Earth, erupted in a blinding display of raw power, their concentrated energy beams lancing towards the Tythran ship. The Supreme Matriarch's eyes widened in alarm as she witnessed the devastating attack, her command console blaring with warning signals. Channeling her cosmic energies, she attempted to deflect the incoming barrage, but the sheer force of the human onslaught overwhelmed her defenses. With a thunderous explosion, the Tythran vessel shuddered, its shields collapsing under the relentless assault. Hernandez watched with grim satisfaction as the alien ship's hull began to glow, the intense heat of the particle beams searing through its superstructure. "Now, Zhao," she shouted into the communication link. "Hit them with everything we've got." Zhao's face was a mask of determination as he initiated the final phase of the human counterattack. Missiles, energy beams, and exotic particle fields converged upon the crippled Tythran vessel, battering it with a barrage of devastating firepower. The Supreme Matriarch, her composure finally shattered, desperately channeled her remaining energies to shield her ship, but the human onslaught was relentless. With a deafening roar, the Tythran flagship broke apart, its superstructure torn asunder by the humans' combined might. As the Tythran vessel disintegrated, the human defenders let out a triumphant cheer. Hernandez and Zhao exchanged a relieved but grim look. They knew that this was only the beginning of the battle for Earth, and that the Tythran Empire would not take this defeat lightly. "We've bought ourselves some time," Hernandez said, her voice steady despite the weight of the situation. "But the Tythrans will be back, and in greater numbers. We need to be ready for them." Zhao nodded, his mind already racing with plans to further enhance their cosmic-powered defenses. "I'll get our best minds working on it. Whatever the Tythrans throw at us, we'll be ready to meet it head-on." The human defenders, their spirits buoyed by their hard-won victory, began the process of reinforcing their positions and preparing for the inevitable counterattack. The fate of their world now hung in the balance, and they were determined to not go down without a fight. In the aftermath of the decisive victory over the Tythran flagship, a sense of cautious optimism began to spread among the human defenders. They had managed to fend off the initial alien onslaught, but they knew that the Tythran Empire would not rest until Earth had been conquered. At the forefront of the human resistance was Dr. Michael Zhao, the brilliant young physicist whose groundbreaking research had unlocked the secrets of harnessing cosmic power. Alongside Captain Amanda Hernandez, the resolute military strategist, Zhao spearheaded the effort to further enhance humanity's technological capabilities. "We've proven that we can stand up to the Tythrans," Zhao said, his eyes alight with determination. "But if we're to have any chance of truly defeating them, we need to push the boundaries of what's possible. We need to harness the full potential of cosmic energy." Hernandez nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. The Tythran leader, this Supreme Matriarch, was able to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe with ease. If we're going to match that kind of power, we'll need to make unprecedented breakthroughs in our research. The two leaders quickly assembled a team of the world's brightest minds, pooling their resources and expertise to delve even deeper into the mysteries of cosmic energy. They worked tirelessly, pushing the limits of human knowledge and engineering, driven by the urgency of their situation. As the weeks passed, Zhao and his team made a series of groundbreaking discoveries. They uncovered new methods of channeling and amplifying cosmic energies, developing advanced technologies that could rival, and even surpass, the capabilities of the Tythran invaders. "We've done it," Zhao announced, his voice tinged with a mixture of triumph and awe. "We've managed to harness the fundamental forces of the universe in ways that even the Tythrans couldn't have imagined." Hernandez's eyes widened as Zhao unveiled the fruits of their labor. Powerful energy weapons, impenetrable shielding systems, and even the ability to manipulate the very fabric of reality itself. These new technologies represented a quantum leap in human capabilities, and the implications were staggering. "With these tools, we can finally take the fight to the Xithrans," Hernandez said, her gaze steely with determination. "We'll show them the true power of humanity." Wasting no time, Hernandez mobilized the human forces, integrating the new cosmic-powered technologies into their arsenal. Sleek, agile fighter craft equipped with devastating energy beams and exotic particle fields took to the skies, while ground-based installations bristled with powerful defensive emplacements. As the Xithran fleet returned, intent on crushing the human resistance once and for all, they were met with a shocking surprise. The human defenders, empowered by their newfound cosmic abilities, launched a blistering counterattack, their weapons piercing the alien invaders' vaunted shielding with ease. The Xithran overlords, their confidence shattered, watched in dismay as their ships were torn apart by the relentless human onslaught. The Supreme Matriarch, observing the unfolding battle from her command post, felt a growing sense of unease. "Impossible," she murmured, her slender fingers gripping the arms of her chair. "These humans have mastered the cosmic energies in ways I had not foreseen. How can they have advanced so quickly?" As the human forces pressed their advantage, the Xithran fleet was forced to retreat, its commanders scrambling to regroup and devise a new strategy. The Supreme Matriarch, her pride wounded, knew that she had underestimated the tenacity and ingenuity of the human race. "They are no longer mere primitives," she said, her voice laced with a hint of respect. "These Earthlings have unlocked the secrets of cosmic power, and they wield it with a ferocity that rivals our own." The Supreme Matriarch's gaze hardened, her mind racing with plans to counter the humans' newfound abilities. She would not allow this upstart civilization to stand in the way of the Xithran Empire's ambitions. The stakes were too high, and failure was not an option. "Summon the full might of the Xithran Armada," she commanded, her voice ringing with authority. "We shall descend upon this world and crush the human resistance, no matter the cost. The Xithran Empire will not be denied its rightful place in the galaxy." As the Supreme Matriarch's order echoed through the Xithran command network, the human defenders prepared themselves for the impending onslaught. They knew that the true test of their resolve was yet to come, but they were determined to protect their world and their way of life, no matter the odds. The stage was set for a cataclysmic clash between the cosmic powers of the Xithran Empire and the newly empowered human resistance. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and neither side was willing to back down. As the Supreme Matriarch's order to summon the full might of the Xithran Armada echoed through the command network, a sense of unease began to spread among the alien invaders. They had witnessed the unexpected resilience and technological prowess of the human defenders, and the prospect of facing an even greater onslaught was daunting. Aboard the Xithran flagship, the overlords exchanged uneasy glances, their confidence shaken by the recent defeat. They had long been the dominant force in the galaxy, crushing any civilization that dared to stand against the Xithran Empire. But now, they found themselves confronted by a species that had managed to harness cosmic power in ways they had never imagined. "The humans have proven to be more than mere primitives," one of the overlords said, his voice tinged with a hint of trepidation. "If the Supreme Matriarch's reinforcements cannot break their defenses, we may be facing the unthinkable, the collapse of our empire." Another overlord, his brow furrowed in thought, nodded slowly. "The reports we've received from the Vanguard fleet are disturbing. These Earthlings have developed technologies that rival our own, and they wield them with a ferocity that we did not anticipate." The Supreme Matriarch, who had been silently observing the exchange, raised a slender hand, silencing her subordinates. "Doubt and fear have no place in the Xithran Empire," she said, her voice cold and unyielding. "We have faced countless civilizations before, and none have withstood the might of our cosmic power. The humans will be no different." With a flick of her wrist, the Supreme Matriarch summoned a vast fleet of Xithran vessels, their sleek, angular forms emerging from the void like a swarm of deadly predators. Thousands of ships, Equipped with the most advanced weapons and shielding systems the Empire could muster, converged on the human homeworld, their cannons primed and ready to unleash devastation. As the Tithran armada approached Earth, the human defenders braced themselves for the impending onslaught. Captain Amanda Hernandez and Dr. Michael Zhao had been working tirelessly to enhance their cosmic-powered defenses, and they were determined to meet the alien invaders with the full force of their newfound abilities. "This is it," Hernandez said, her eyes narrowing as she watched the Tithran fleet take up position in the skies above. "We've come too far to back down now. Whatever the Tithrans throw at us, we'll be ready." Zhao nodded, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface of his command console. "Our weapons are primed, and our shielding systems are at full strength. We've done everything we can to prepare for this moment." As the two leaders coordinated the human forces, a sudden flurry of activity erupted across the Tithran command network. Overlords and lesser officers alike began transmitting frantic reports, their voices laced with a sense of growing panic. "The periphery worlds are in open rebellion," one overlord exclaimed. "Our forces are being overwhelmed by the local populations who have somehow acquired advanced cosmic-powered technologies of their own." The Supreme Matriarch's eyes narrowed, her composure cracking for the briefest of moments. "Impossible," she hissed, her slender fingers tightening around the arms of her command chair. "How can this be happening?" Another overlord's voice came through the communication channel, his words tinged with a mixture of fear and desperation. "The rebellion is spreading like wildfire. Great One, our fleets are being decimated, and our hold on the outer colonies is slipping. We cannot maintain control of the Empire in the face of this onslaught." The Supreme Matriarch's mind raced, her carefully crafted plans unraveling before her very eyes. The humans on Earth were proving to be a formidable adversary, and now her own subjects were rising up against the Tithran rule. It was a crisis of unprecedented proportions, and one that threatened to bring the mighty Empire crashing down. "Divert all available resources to quell the uprising," the Supreme Matriarch commanded, her voice betraying a hint of desperation. "The humans can wait. Our very survival is at stake. We cannot afford to lose our grip on the galaxy." The overlords, sensing the growing vulnerability of their position, hastened to comply with the Supreme Matriarch's orders. Reluctantly, they began to redeploy their forces, withdrawing ships from the impending assault on Earth to address the rapidly escalating situation in the outer colonies. As the Tithran fleet began to disperse, Hernandez and Zhao exchanged a disbelieving look. They had not anticipated this turn of events, but they were quick to seize the opportunity. "Now's our chance," Hernandez said, a faint glimmer of hope in her eyes. "We need to hit them hard, while they're distracted. This could be the opening we've been waiting for." Zhao nodded, his fingers already initiating a series of commands. "I'll mobilize every available resource. We won't get a better chance than this to turn the tide of the war." The human defenders surged into action, their cosmic-powered weapons and defenses unleashing a devastating barrage upon the retreating Tithran fleet. For the first time, the invaders found themselves overwhelmed, their once impregnable shielding and firepower proving insufficient against the relentless human onslaught. As the Tithran ships disintegrated, their crews scrambling to escape the carnage, a sense of triumph began to swell among the human defenders. They had withstood the initial alien invasion, and now they were poised to deliver a crippling blow to the heart of the Tithran Empire. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the humans were determined to seize their destiny, no matter the cost. The tide of the interstellar war had turned in humanity's favor, but the human defenders knew that the fight was far from over. The Tithran Empire, once a seemingly unstoppable force, now found itself reeling from the combined effects of the human resistance and the growing rebellion in its own territories. As the battered Tithran fleet retreated, Captain Amanda Hernandez and Dr. Michael Zhao convened a meeting with the leading military and scientific minds of Earth. They knew that the respite would be fleeting, and that the Tithran Supreme Matriarch would not rest until their world was brought to heel. The Thethrans are in a vulnerable position, Hernandez said, her gaze sweeping across the assembled group. But we can't afford to let our guard down. The Supreme Matriarch will be desperate to regain the upper hand, and she'll stop at nothing to crush us. Zhao nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. We've made significant strides in harnessing cosmic power, but the Exithrans have had millennia to master these abilities. If we're going to have a chance at defeating them, we need to push the boundaries of what's possible. The gathered experts exchanged determined looks, their minds already racing with ideas and strategies. They knew that the fate of their world, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Failure was not an option. In the days that followed, the human defenders worked tirelessly to further enhance their cosmic-powered technologies. Breakthroughs in energy manipulation, exotic shielding, and even the ability to bend the very fabric of reality itself were achieved through the combined efforts of the world's brightest minds. As the human forces readied themselves for the inevitable Xithran counterattack, the Supreme Matriarch convened a council of her most trusted overlords. Her once unassailable empire was on the brink of collapse, and she was determined to salvage what she could. The humans have proven to be more resilient than we anticipated, the Supreme Matriarch said, her voice laced with a mixture of frustration and respect. They have managed to unlock the secrets of cosmic power, and their defenses have proven to be formidable. One of the overlords, his features etched with worry, spoke up. Great One, our forces are stretched thin. The rebellion in the outer colonies is proving difficult to suppress, and we've suffered heavy losses in our battles with the humans. I fear that we may not have the resources to mount a decisive assault on their world. The Supreme Matriarch's eyes narrowed, her slender fingers drumming against the arm of her chair. We cannot afford to lose this war, she said, her voice brooking no argument. The Xithran Empire's very existence is at stake. We must summon every ounce of our cosmic might and crush these upstart humans once and for all. Turning her gaze to the assembled overlords, the Supreme Matriarch's expression hardened. Redeploy what forces we can spare from the outer colonies. Concentrate them on a single, overwhelming assault against the human homeworld. This time, we will not hold back. We shall unleash the full fury of the Xithran Empire upon them. The overlords, sensing the gravity of the situation, quickly set to work, coordinating the mobilization of the Xithran fleet. They knew that failure was not an option, for the consequences of defeat would be unthinkable. As the Xithran Armada once again set its sights on Earth, the human defenders braced themselves for the coming onslaught. Hernandez and Zhao, standing side by side, survey the array of cosmic-powered weaponry and defenses at their disposal, their expressions grim but resolute. This is it, Hernandez said, her voice steady. Everything we've accomplished, everything we've sacrificed, has led us to this moment. We can't afford to lose now. Zhao nodded, his fingers already dancing across the interface of his command console. The Xithrans may have the advantage of experience, but we have the advantage of determination. We'll show them the true power of humanity. The human forces took their positions, their weapons charged and their shields at the ready. As the Xithran fleet emerged from the void, its formidable firepower unleashed upon the planet, the defenders responded in kind, their cosmic-powered arsenals lashing out with devastating precision. The ensuing battle was a clash of epic proportions, a titanic struggle between the might of the Xithran Empire and the unwavering resolve of the human defenders. Energy beams, missiles, and exotic particle fields tore through the void, each side pushing the boundaries of their cosmic abilities to the limit. Aboard the Xithran flagship, the Supreme Matriarch watched the unfolding carnage with a mixture of fury and desperation. Her once mighty empire was crumbling, and the humans, these upstart Earthlings, were proving to be a far more formidable adversary than she had ever imagined. I will not be defeated, the Supreme Matriarch cried, her voice laced with a deranged intensity. Channeling the full extent of her cosmic powers, she unleashed a devastating barrage of energy that seemed to distort the very fabric of reality itself. Hernandez and Zhao, sensing the immense threat, quickly coordinated their forces, directing them to counter the Supreme Matriarch's onslaught. The human defenders fought with everything they had, their resolve unbreakable, as they refused to yield an inch to the alien invaders. The clash of cosmic energies shook the very foundations of the planet, and for a moment, it seemed that the Sci-Fi Empire might prevail. But the human defenders, driven by a fierce determination to protect their home and their way of life, refused to back down. In a final, desperate push, the human forces unleashed the full might of their cosmic-powered arsenal, their combined efforts overwhelming the Supreme Matriarch's defenses. With a deafening roar, the Scytheran flagship disintegrated, its superstructure torn apart by the relentless human assault. As the Scytheran fleet retreated, the human defenders let out a triumphant cheer, their eyes shining with a mixture of relief and pride. They had faced the might of the Scytheran Empire and emerged victorious, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the human spirit. But even as they celebrated their hard-won victory, Hernandez and Zhao knew that the battle was far from over. The Scytheran Empire had been dealt a crippling blow, but the war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. As the Scytheran fleet limped away, the human defenders on Earth let out a collective sigh of relief, their hard-won victory sinking in. Captain Amanda Hernandez and Dr. Michael Zhao exchanged a weary but triumphant look, the weight of the conflict they had just endured etched on their faces. "We did it," Hernandez said, her voice tinged with a mixture of disbelief and pride. "We stood up to the might of the Scytheran Empire and emerged victorious. Humanity has proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with in the cosmos." Zhao nodded, his gaze sweeping across the bustling command center. "The sacrifices we've made, the breakthroughs we've achieved, it's all been worth it. We've unlocked the secrets of cosmic power and used it to defend our world. Now the future of our species, and perhaps the entire galaxy, lies in our hands." The news of the human triumph quickly spread across the globe, igniting a wave of celebration and national pride. People poured into the streets, cheering and waving flags, their spirits buoyed by the realization that they had stared down an alien menace and emerged victorious. In the days that followed, the world's leaders convened to discuss the implications of the Scytheran conflict and humanity's newfound cosmic abilities. It was a pivotal moment in human history, one that would shape the course of the species for generations to come. "We've proven that we're not alone in this universe," the United Nations Secretary-General declared during a televised address. "The Scytheran Empire may have been the first alien civilization we've encountered, but they will not be the last. And now we stand ready to take our place among the cosmic powers, ready to forge our own destiny among the stars." Hernandez and Zhao found themselves at the forefront of this new era, their names and deeds immortalized in the annals of human history. They had led the charge against the Scytheran invaders, and their contributions had been instrumental in securing humanity's victory. "We couldn't have done it without the hard work and dedication of so many people," Hernandez said during a press conference. "This triumph belongs to all of humanity, scientists, engineers, soldiers, and citizens alike. Together, we've shown that we can overcome even the greatest of challenges when we stand united." Zhao, standing beside his longtime friend and colleague, nodded in agreement. "The road ahead of us is uncertain, but we're ready to face it head-on. The Scytheran Empire may have been defeated, but we know that there are other civilizations out there, both friendly and hostile. We must be prepared to defend our world and our place in the cosmos." As the human defenders turned their attention to the future, they began to explore the vast potential of their newfound cosmic abilities. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to develop advanced technologies, from faster-than-light propulsion systems to sophisticated terraforming tools. The prospect of interstellar exploration and colonization became a tangible reality, and the human spirit soared with the possibilities that lay before them. Meanwhile, the Scytheran Empire found itself in a state of turmoil. The once mighty interstellar power had been dealt a crippling blow, its grip on the galaxy slipping through its fingers. The rebellion that had erupted in the outer colonies continued to spread, with former Sithran subjects embracing the cosmic technologies they had acquired to overthrow their oppressors. The Supreme Matriarch, her ambitions shattered and her empire crumbling, retreated to the Sithran homeworld, determined to salvage what she could. But the human defenders, emboldened by their victory, knew that the fight was far from over. They had tasted the power of the cosmos, and they were ready to take their place among the stars. As the years passed, the human race embarked on a new era of exploration and expansion, their cosmic-powered vessels traversing the vastness of space, forging alliances with other civilizations, and establishing outposts on distant worlds. The name Earth became synonymous with resilience, innovation, and the indomitable spirit of a species that had proven its worth among the cosmic powers. And amid the grandeur of this new age, the names of Captain Amanda Hernandez and Dr. Michael Zhao were etched into the legends of humanity, their deeds and sacrifices celebrated as the catalysts that had propelled the human race into a future beyond their wildest dreams. The Sithran Empire, once a dominant force in the galaxy, had been humbled and humiliated by the rise of humanity. And as the dust settled, the realization dawned that the balance of power had shifted, the cosmos now bearing witness to the emergence of a new cosmic-powered superpower, the human civilization.